Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. So we're actually not in Crushbone anymore. We're actually out in, I think it's Lesser Faydark. Double check that Greater Faydark. I always get those two confused. One's a really low level zone, one's a really high level zone. So it's best not to get those confused in the game. But we're over on the Orc Hill, hunting low level orcs, but they're still a good experience for us at our level. Inside it was a little higher, so we were getting better experience faster. But if there's not enough groups or it's camped too much, then this is a pretty good spot for it. Let me see, how good is it? Blue and yellow. So I guess I'll go ahead and pull. Seems like everybody's life is pretty good. That's a blue. That's a yellow. I don't know. Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and do it. Bring it back. Oh, great. And it had a pop too, so. I'll turn it off. I don't know which one he's gonna mez. Okay. I guess it was the big one. So this is the first time we've had somebody actually using their mez capability in our group. So when you do have a mezer, the first thing you want to ask is who is the main assist. Now usually the main assist will simply be the same person as the main tank. But not always. Sometimes it's somebody different. Let's see, which one are they attacking? Is that one or what? He's gonna try to root it. Okay, let's root it. And he's still too close. He's getting hit. He needs to back up a little bit more. There he goes. Now, occasionally you'll have a tank, like I've said in some of my other videos, where you go off and pull, bring the creature back, and before the creature's even dead, you're going off and pulling something else to keep the pulls going. Now, in situations like that, usually the tank won't be the main assist. Also, you got to keep in mind that the tank's doing a lot of things. He's pulling, he's making sure the aggro is kept in check, and so sometimes he won't even be targeting the creature that everybody else is. He'll have to switch back and forth and taunt, especially if there's not a mezer. So his target is not always the most accurate one to pick. So if you can, I would suggest, in case they're not telling you who's the main assist in the group, is to pick a caster. Pick somebody who looks like they're on the spot, like a necro. Ooh, now clarity. Pick somebody who looks like they're casting right at the very beginning. Seems to know what they're doing. And the reason you want to do that is not because you don't know what you're doing or you're not casting fast enough, but if enough people are targeting one person as the assist, then you won't have people targeting all sorts of different people, and you actually do damage to that one thing. Because the main thing is just to burn it down as fast as possible, one at a time, because if you spread your damage out over all of them, yeah, you're doing damage to everybody that you're going to eventually have to do anyways, but you're also taking damage longer. Let's go ahead and take this guy out. Oh, great. There we go. Get it off of my enchanter. It would help if I actually targeted him, though. incoming orc pawn. Those are so... I can kill those in like one hit now. I don't really need to bring it back to the group. I'll just slap it a few times. There you go. One more time should do it. Loot it. I don't have any room for a chest though, so I might have to leave that there. There we go. Can snag this sucker. Incoming. You can see as long as we don't get repop or something weird like that, 2 pullers is pretty good. Now, if he pulls 3 or 4 creatures at once and I bring another 2, then we're going to have some issues. But thankfully, our timing has been pretty good so far. We haven't really bitten off more than we can chew. And I'm still in range when he, you know, pulls the other one, so I can get experience from that. Let's see, what level are these things? They're all green. Though if you're looking for Spiderling Silk, this would be a good place to come. There's clearly a lot of roamers. Let me ask them ready for 3. Okay. If I get back in time, I am running pretty slow. Because I am a little bit overweight with this character right now. Yeah, it's probably going to attack him. I think he's going to root it. Go. Go ahead and taunt it a few times, because the moment it comes out of Mez, it's going to go right for the Enchanter. So make sure you do at least one taunt, preferably at higher levels, do more than one. If you have somebody in your group that can cast a root on it, that's even better. Because then it won't go anywhere, even if you know, the aggro is just, see, like right there. I didn't do a taunt, and the very first thing it did is run right towards him. Not bad. I didn't want to loot that. Let me see, how much copper do I have? You know, I could get rid of it, but it really wouldn't give me too much weight incoming. It'd probably give me another 5-10 pounds. You know, that's kind of nice, but not enough to really make a huge difference. There we go. Now we got 2 more. Yellow too. There we go. Yeah, taunt that one. So we might get 1 more in here. Then I really won't have to worry about pulling if we have, you know, just a few more DPSs or even another healer would be great. That does look like a healer. There we go. Sweet. Pulling down. Oh, dizzy right there. He actually might be a mage with that little pet right there, so yeah. More DPS at least. It's basically a wizard and a tank we just got with one person. Just like a necro has his pets. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this in. Now later on, in some of the zones, you won't have to get so close to them to pull. They're actually pretty good at just aggroing towards... I guess he's going to fight this down here. My loot goes into combat with I don't know if they're asking if I'm next or if there's actually a belt on one of these guys, or... I have no clue. I guess I'll loot it. Let them decide afterwards if I was supposed to or not. Let me see if anybody else is up over here. Nope, not yet. Oh, there's one guy over here. Actually, two of them. So it's one even. Run, Forest. There's a little ferry going by. You can hear the music. There we go. Ah, a little pet got on it. Gotta be careful with that if they switch targets, which is exactly what I did. Can't really blame them, but... You know, I'm not the main assist in this group. I'm just the pooler. One of them, anyways. Oh, I'm blind. I'm still running though. Now I gotta stop. Turn around a little bit, maybe. Hoping I'm actually turning around. I don't know. I can't see anything. It's always good to have a button that's programmed, one of your 1 through 9 keys that says I'm blind or I can't see or I'm disabled, to let people know that's why you're standing there doing nothing. Especially if you're the healer, you want to be able to heal by knowing what buttons there are. And usually when something like that happens, I'll have a good idea how much health the person needs. And then if I have the power, or even if I don't have the power, I'll just, you know, spam my key a little bit more often than I normally would. I'll stand up, hit like F2 to target the second person in my group, F3 to target the third person, and so on. And then start healing that person over and over and over again as much as I think I can afford, or as much as I think they need. Because if you listen, you can still hear the fight going on in the background. I didn't want to loot that. So you can tell, you know, if the fight's over, if it's going stronger, you know, what's going on. Granted, if you have, like, Ventrilo up or something like that, and somebody else in your group, they can tell you, hey, so-and-so needs a heal, or, you know, such and such kind of thing. Come to, or they want to sell the spell Breeze. I guess he meant the buff. Let's see, come over here. Now, depending on how, you know, camp this zone is, and usually it's not that bad. It usually has quite a few people to group with, but it's usually not camped. You can come up here and grab some of these guys. Move. I gotta hand it to these guys too. If this was real life, like if this was virtual reality and I had to make this run, I'd be in such good shape. I mean, these guys never stop moving. I don't know how you would do it. Nice. I'm gonna take one look around, make sure nothing's popping, and there is something popping. A shimmering orb, slow breeze. There we go. Let's see what a shimmering orb does. Oh, that's pretty nice. Plus, it's the look. The look is pretty cool. It looks like a little snow cone right there. So they got that. I'm gonna go take a look around. Wish I had sew on or something, man. I could be pulling like crazy with that. Okay, I guess he got those. Somebody else has these. Is he gonna make it? Yeah, it looks like he's gonna be fine. I'll leave those for him. It looks like that's what he's doing. I don't want to be too greedy. I got plenty down here. And the guy's telling me there's 2 up. He rooted the one I was targeting, so I have to switch targets. There we go. They got that. Forest. There we go. But you can see how you don't really even need to be part of the fight. Like, my guy's not doing that much damage compared to what the other guys are doing. Remember, unlike other games where you can run through people, you will get caught on people, which some people did take advantage of that and kind of be little bunholes or buttheads for it. I remember you could pick a troll and an ogre that were huge, you know, and the ogres were fat too, not just tall, but fat. And they would find some place like a bank that was inside, and they would sit in the doorway, and nobody would be able to get past them. Like, literally, you could not walk through them, you could not jump over them. And then they would go AFK, and people would be ticked off. Crazy, because some people don't want to gate back to where they're binding, you know? It's just, it would be a madhouse, and finally, they would move, you know, but they were just doing it on purpose for a little bit of fun. Nobody was too nasty about it. Nobody really went AFK for too long, you know, a couple minutes here and there, but it was just funny when it happened. Usually you just wait it out and watch all the people freak out because they're like, oh, I'm going to be trapped in here forever. I mean, if worst came down to worst, like I said, you could just gate out. But that really is kind of the worst option because you could be gated like 15 zones away. And it's not like you can bind there and then gate, you know, it's like wherever you are standing when you bind is where you're going to gate to. So if you bound inside that city at the bank, which is a good place to bind because when you teleport back you can put all your stuff away and sell and camp for the night. It would just be a night arena because you'd be trapped there, so. Nothing else is up yet. Oh, come on. There we go. I don't want to get too far away, otherwise I wouldn't get any of the experience, but... Let's see any of this stuff up yet. This guy's probably just looking for belts. Guess he died. I was gonna try to save him. There we go. I don't get really any spells to level 9, so I couldn't give him a heal or anything. At least he knows the way is clear when he gets back. Ah, come on, move. There you go. There's another one way over there in the distance too. You can see him behind that tree. I kind of want to get him next, but I don't want to like let this camp spawn too much. Because as a roamer, he's the hardest to get. In fact, I will go over there and get him real quick. Yeah, one with the snake. Stop running. That's another problem you run into when you put your guy on auto run while you're typing. Let's go ahead and grab these guys. Only one of them will come. The pawn's not going to go anywhere. Ouch. There we go. Whose turn is it? Bhutan's turn on the belts. Tim next. Okay, I don't know if he means now or next time. Okay, I guess I'll loot that one. Kill the orc. There you go. Okay, got one. Let's see, what is this over here? Orc pawn? I'm not even going to call that. Just going to kill it real quick. Now, they can all have a chance of dropping belts. So, you know, you need to kill them anyways because they're placeholders for higher creatures. Or higher level creatures, I should say. But, you know, you can always get those belts off of them, which is nice because otherwise it's just kind of like a wasted, you know, few seconds or a minute. You know, like higher levels, when you kill those guys, even lower level ones still have quite a few hit points. Let's see. Just always want to make sure that they're ready for something big like that. Okay, here we go. Run! And if I felt really adventurous, I'll pick up that other roamer, but I'm not going to. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. Heal me. Heal me. Oh, come on. Oh, man. That sucked. Well, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video here. I have to make the long run back, and that's a really long run for you guys to have to watch. So I'll wait until I spawn. I'll go ahead and pause it, and then I'll connect the videos together so you guys don't have to see that, but the videos will continue. Unfortunately, that's just part of one of the hazards of being a tank, being the pooler, is that you're going to die more than most people. But it's not that big of a deal. It happens. It's just... Oh, crap. What is this guy? Yeah, great respawn place, guys. It's not even safe. There we go. And it probably wouldn't have happened if I wasn't so overweight. I would have made it probably just fine. I would only got hit like once or twice. So, a very important thing to... Yeah, we gotta get me bound here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video, guys, and I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes. Hey, guys. guys, so we're finally back. I looted my corpse, and I was actually going to get a bind real quick because I'm, you know, bound pretty far away, but the guy I was going to get one from went link dead, and I wasn't actually able to get it from, so we just went ahead and started pooling again, and I got my corpse back, so we'll just have to wait until we find somebody else that's, you know, willing to do that, and also not willing to charge too much. He was actually asking for 10 platinum, so that's pretty steep at this level. Granted, I have been given platinum by people that are higher level to me that can afford it. Still, I don't like wasting it if I don't have to. That to me is kind of a luxury. I mean, 10 platinum, I'd rather run for 10 or 15 minutes, you know, here and there than to spend the 10 platinum that would take me hours to get at this level. I mean, it may take me days to get that back to recuperate 10 platinum, so you just have to do cost versus reward on that one. Higher levels who play Twinks will sometimes forget that 10 platinum is a lot of money to some people. Nothing to them because they can earn that in, you know, 10-15 minutes at higher levels. But for the rest of us, that adds up. Well, not only does that add up, that's like all the money that we make from the time we start to like the time we get to like level 8. I mean, that's just, it's ridiculous how much money they're charged. I know it is time out of their day. They gotta join your group and they gotta bind you. They have to be in the exact spot you want to be bound. You know, it's kind of a chore, but I don't know. I always try to give back to people as much as possible and not really charge them, which is probably why I never really had that much money to begin with in these games. Because any kind of good loot that I may have had, I usually just gave away. Let's see, somebody's been killing these guys over here. Is she gonna make it? I guess she is. Come on, run, you little chubby legs, run. Got one coming in, otherwise I would get that bind. Biggest son of a toe. Sell and get a bind. Okay, he's gonna go do that too. Yeah, I'm just right down the way. Okay, gonna disband for a second. There he is. Okay, let's see. How do I specify? There we go. I guess he said 10 platinum. I guess I can't give it to him while he's busy. He canceled. Okay. That worked out well. 34 platinum on this guy is because I was given quite a bit. the game from my friend over here, so finally we've got a bound to a place near close to where we're actually fighting. Go ahead and help him out a little bit. There we go. In case you're wondering why we bring them up to this little hill, it's because there's really no roamers here. There's one or two that may swing by on a really rare occasion, but for the most part, this little area up on the top is pretty safe. So it's a good place to pull to because you don't have to worry about extra ads during a big fight. You don't have to worry about if you just survived a big fight, anything popping up on you until you're ready. You know, you can kind of sit back, med, heal up, and just be ready to go for the next one. Let's see, anything else up? What level? I guess, you know, anywhere from level 4 on up you can go into 6. I guess if you want to be cautious, I mean, we were there at level 4, and we were doing just fine as long as you had a pretty good group. Yeah, they say castle is 10 plus. I don't know about that. I didn't get into the castle until I was like level 14 with my cleric. And even then, it was a pretty hard place to do. They spawn quickly, they spawn high levels. They're very difficult if you don't have a full group. And even then, it can still be very difficult. So these levels are a little off. But again, it really depends on your class and the people you have with you, whether they have good armor or not. But if you're just going with, you know, people, what armor they should have at this level, and with their play level, skill level, should be at this level, then I would say you need to wait until a little bit higher level than 10 to be able to go into that room. So we lost a few people. I think the other one was still getting clarity. So we may get some more back. Got another one here, that's good. As long as I can stay up on the respawn, we should be fine taking these camps and holding them. Fire beetle eyes at work. These guys are vanity. It's like anybody's gonna tip for a fire beetle eye. Okay, so we got one of them back now. Gillarenda. There we go. And you can tell, I mean, just look at the way her character is drawn. You know, this is totally a guy's game. I mean, seriously. You gotta love the fact that when you die, you spawn butt naked. There he goes, ding 7. So I could have just got a bind from him if we waited just a little bit longer, but let's see, is he gonna make it? Give his life a couple seconds to update. There, yeah, he's gonna make that just fine. I thought he was joking, but okay, he's actually giving away fire beetle eyes. Now, some people actually need certain items to be able to cast. I know druids are one of them, and the fire beetle eye may be the one that they need to be able to cast certain spells. They don't actually use it as like a reanimation, you know, thing. They just need it on them to be able to cast it. So it just takes up a slot in their inventory, unfortunately. And then from then on, they never really have to worry about it, unless they sell it by accident. And then that kind of sucks, because at higher levels, you know, it's going to be a lot harder to find, you know, a low-level fire beetle to kill. Because there's really no, like, in other games, if you fight spiders, you can fight spiders all the way to level whatever. Because, you know, there's higher-level versions of them. I don't remember ever seeing a higher-level version of a fire beetle. They're just, like, low-level ones, and that's it. And you never really see them again. You do see higher-level spiders, like in the crystal caverns and things of that sort, but you don't get fire beetle eyes off of them, so... Thankfully, he didn't put blindness on me, because I know this area pretty well, but I don't think I would have been able to get back to these guys, you know, being completely blind. Not to mention, if I got lost out here and died, good luck finding your body without, like, a Shadow Knight or a Necro to cast that spell on you to find corpse. It's just, it'd be ridiculous. This zone is big enough as it is. I get lost when I can see. To be blind in it would just be a nightmare. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this one as well. And I was surfing YouTube tonight, and I was watching one of my favorite channels. For those of you who want to watch something funny and musical at the same time, you guys should check out the Key of Awesome. Great bunch of guys and girls that make some hilarious videos that are just, you know, high production value and everything. Even though they try to make it sound like it's not, they just do a wonderful job on their stuff. And it's just hilarious. I was sitting there cracking up, laughing for a good hour, watching some of their songs, and it's a great, great band. I hope they continue to make more stuff. So if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, I suggest you go over and check them out. That's Key of Awesome one more time. I normally don't promote other people's channels, but they got to me tonight because that was just, it was a good time. You got an Orc Pawn, because I can kill him just for funs. Ooh, bear. Let's see, what do they got up here? Everything's dead. Got one incoming. That's a useful thing that they're doing right there by letting me know that they're up, so I don't pull, or I shouldn't pull, I should say. Unfortunately, I already have, so. But it will let me know to come back to the room, stop whatever I'm doing. Because, you know, I don't have eyes over there. I can't tell if the room spawned. You know, I could have them on a timer, but if I'm not quite paying attention to that timer, then, you know, you can run into some issues. Almost got him in one hit. Let's come over here and grab this guy. Nope, somebody's already fighting him. The kittens who say meow. It did take me quite a long time to get from level 5 to level 6, but that's just because of the groups you're in. It slows down, and then of course it actually puts you into like the frame of experience that you should be accustomed to at higher levels. The fact that it slows down dramatically. First few levels, you're like, oh, this is going by pretty fast. It's not the case later on. None of the levels really go by fast. Some of them go by faster than others, but they're still incredibly slow no matter what level you're on, which is kind of nice. It slows things down so that you can really feel what level 34 feels like, what level 35 feels like. You're not just powering through them like you do in other games where, you know, you can be from, what you feel is, you know, what level 30 to 40 feels like, because that's basically the same time frame that you might feel for one level here. Although not really. Everquest 2, you can get from like level 1 to level 50 in the amount of time it would take me to get to level, I don't know, 4 in this game, so. We got some more people. Looks like another druid, maybe? Maybe not, maybe a ranger. Usually you can tell just by the class they pick, or race they pick, I should say. Like who they will be, because it used to be that everybody knew what races were good for what. And so if you were playing a high elf, you were either a paladin or a cleric. You weren't going to really do anything else with that guy. Even though that you could possibly be a lot of different classes, almost nobody picked it, other than for those. And the same thing for like Dark Elf. If they were going to be a Dark Elf, you knew they were going to be like a Necro or a Shadow Knight. Iskars were definitely Necros most of the time because they have a higher regen. Go ahead and pull these guys. I'm doing pretty good on the run speed because we got a bard in the group. Somebody woke him up. And in case you're wondering if they can figure out who woke him up, yes, they can. And in groups later on, if you wake them up, they will stop and they will sit there and scroll up to find out who it was that did it. And you will have egg all over your face. It's a pretty bad sight. So just be careful with that before watching, paying attention. Talking to the right guy. Are they saying they have a built up here for me? Man, somebody needs to loot these things already. Another person up here who enjoys fooling, so that's cool. Giving me a run for my money by fooling so much. I thought he said he was fooling something. I can barely click on that thing. There we go. Now, as great as those belts are for both cash and experience, depending on what you want to do, they do add up as far as weight goes. I think they're like 1.5 pounds or 1.2 pounds a piece. So if you're the pooler, especially if you're a monk, and that's going to affect your overall agility, then it's something you need to be aware of, that you may not want to carry a lot on you. I mean, you know, weight limit in this game really is one of those things you have to watch out for some classes. Other classes, they have plenty of it. You know, a tank's going to have a lot of strength at higher levels because all his items are going to give him strength and stamina, basically. But like casters, like my Necro, is always going to constantly struggle with his weight. as it is right now, all I have is equipment on. It's all cloth, so it's like the lowest possible weight you could possibly have on any character. And backpacks. That's all he really has on him. And some food, and he's overweight the moment he picks anything up. The moment he picks a bear pelt or, you know, anything, he's overweight. Right after that enchanter every single time. I don't know what he's casting on him, but it's some serious aggro, that's for sure. And if you guys know what that enchanter's casting, feel free to post it down in the comments. Would love to know, you know, more about enchanters, because I really don't know that much, like I've said before, other than the fact that they can, you know, charm and mez things. Other than that, you really never see them do much in groups. That's enough. I mean, that alone is challenging and amazing that they're able to do all that. But if they have any other hidden talents, they never really get to show them, and so therefore I don't really know what they are. Which is kind of sad, but that's their lot, you know. Is like a healer, you can either accept the fact that he's going to be healing 99.9% of the time, probably 100% of the time. I think the only time I ever used a direct damage spell was when I was trying to solo, and never really went very, you know, well. It was just so slow. The only other time I casted anything is clerics will get a lot of, you know, stun spells. If you're a class that gets stun spells, like my paladin should get a few, you want to save them until the enemy is about to heal himself. The enemies do get spells just like you, so you'll find out that if you can heal yourself, or you can mez people, or you can dot people, so can they. And you'll see it. They're about to cast their big heal spell, and it'll take them a few seconds, just like it takes you. And then once it goes off, their life all the way back up to full, or close to it. And then they begin to cast it again, or maybe they're casting it on somebody else and healing them. Wow, this guy keeps dying over here. Probably one of the roamers. But, so you want to interrupt that. You can interrupt that simply the same way they interrupt you, by either moving them if you have a spell that, like, knocks them back a little bit, or, sleepy next to this person. So yeah, if you can knock them back a little bit by using a spell, if you have, there's one spell I remember, I think maybe even enchanters get it. It's a really cool one. It tosses them up like 50 feet in the air. Sucks completely in most zones because it will aggro like everything in its grandmother towards you. So only in outside zones, and only wide open outside zones like this. And it looks cool, but kind of sucks. But it will interrupt them, obviously. If you have bash for your shield, you can try to interrupt them. It doesn't always work that well, but it's pretty good. And then, of course, if you have spells that are stunning spells, those definitely work every single time, if you can get them off. But those stun spells, they do have a casting time on them. They're usually pretty short, like a second or 2 seconds at max to cast them. Some of them have a little bit longer, but usually those spells are more direct damage spells with the side effect of a stun spell. And so they give you that that delayed on it, because you are basically using a direct damage spell, and they didn't want to make, you know, your direct damage spell like insanely fast, because nobody else is. You also got to remember that they do have a recast time on them, so you may cast it and may not be able to cast that stun for another 5 or 10 minutes, depending on what class you're playing. So you kind of want to save them for the fight you know you're going to need, or you think you might need it. It's not a spell that I used very often with my healer, unless I knew. Oh, you got a couple right there. Like I would always save it for those emergency situations where, okay, he's casting, now I can stun the crap out of him. They recover pretty quickly, just like you do, so one stun usually isn't enough. If you cast that one stun when he's casting his spell, he'll go ahead and just start casting it again. I'll let him do it for a little while. I'll let him kill that when I go down here and kill this pawn. And you can see your faction does change. I got a couple of them that say could not possibly get any worse. The other ones that are getting better are still getting better. In case you're wondering how long it takes to go to where it's maxed out on those, a very long time. You may go into a zone that gives you faction hit and be fighting in that zone for a week or even longer before your faction changes to where it's maxed out. Other games that made it easier. In this one, it's incredibly hard to get your faction up and incredibly easy to lower your faction. So you may only get, and this is just spitballing because I don't know what the actual numbers are, but you may only get 10 points for every positive faction, but get like a negative 1,000 points for every negative one. It's ridiculous in that regard. It's very easy to mess things up and very hard to fix them. It's kind of like the old D&D games. They were very detail-oriented. They were very unforgiving. They were there for the people who are really, really, really into something. You know, they want that challenge. You don't want things too easy, too vanilla. You know, and it kind of went that route in Everquest too. They made it a little bit easier, a little bit less daunting for people who weren't familiar with the whole genre, who didn't grow up playing old D&D games and things of that sort. So a lot more people were able to get into it. And then WoW came out and made it even super more vanilla, you know, than EverQuest 2 had, so that anybody, even like a 2-year-old, could pick it up and start playing and be fine with it without realizing, you know, what he was doing and what these stats do and all this other stuff. He didn't have to get involved in all that. It was just really, really easy. Now, even in that game, the higher tier stuff did get super complicated. It did have that end game for those users who wanted it. I'm not putting EverQuest 2 or WoW down at all. It had its good things and its bad things for me. For other people, it may just all be good, but it is different. And I don't think anybody would argue that those two games are definitely different from this one in many, many ways. Okay, didn't get that anything. Just making sure they're not saying anything I need to know about, but yeah, I kind of like the hardcore. This one seems more, if I was going to make like a virtual reality world, this seems more realistic, or the closest that I've ever seen to the most realistic kind of VR, because leveling takes longer, you have to work harder. Your guy just seems like he is relying on you a lot of the time, where he's not just going through and kind of powering through without you, like you didn't even need to be there. You know, I can't just hit the fight button and step back and do nothing. You know, I'm doing that right now because I don't have any spells, but I have to position them, I gotta do all this stuff, and then I gotta make sure my healers, they gotta come back, and it would just be cool if this was virtual reality, because the game is pretty much set up to handle it, I would imagine, you know. If you could convert it over into a system that, you know, like the Oculus kind of thing, that would be sweet. For those of you who haven't tried that system, it's actually pretty cool. Way too pricey right now and has a lot of glitches and there's not a lot of software for it, but the idea, the fact that it's coming to, you know, a store near us, and it's going to be in our homes pretty soon, that's why I'm talking about it, because it's not something like, I remember when I was a kid, going to the Galleria, they had a store there, arcades. Yeah, that's how old I am. They had arcades in the mall still, along with record stores. Yeah, I know. But one of the things was a VR system you can get into and put the helmet on, have a little round, you know, security panel around you so you didn't step outside and, you know, fall down and break your leg or something stupid like that. And it was amazing, but it was really, really blocky. Let me grab this guy. It was really blocky, and you had to pay like, it was something ridiculous, like $27 for like 3 minutes. And 3 minutes goes by so quick in that thing because, first of all, it takes you a couple minutes at least to get your bearings. You put this thing on, you're like, okay, how does my hands work? And they're counting all that as time. And so then you start the level, and you have to go through a little tutorial to learn how to, you know, fight, what your movements of your arms are. So basically, I got about 15 seconds of actual gameplay out of my 3 minutes for like $27. And it was amazing, but it wasn't quite there. Even with that that experience. It definitely showed me that's where I wanted it to go, but it still needed a lot of work. And then they pretty much disappeared. Like, even in the arcades, they pretty much disappeared because probably because just the price on them alone was just too drastic for anybody to ever pay. And they needed somebody to stand there and watch to make sure you didn't damage the equipment. That's how expensive it was, I guess. Or maybe that's just the one I went to, had somebody standing there, you know, guiding you through. And they were actually more annoying because they would tell you, they would try to give you hints, and they weren't trying to be annoying, but they were like, go straight, oh, watch out for the guy who's about to pop up. And trying to listen to him play a new game, learn how to use the controllers, get a feel for my surroundings, all of that one time being, you know, shoved into your ears and your eyes was just too much. But if you could bring that home, I think that would just be sweet. And I look forward to the day where I can play some games like that, because I think that will be the future of the internet, is the VR. Because can you imagine if you want to learn karate, you don't ever actually have to go down to the store or the center down the street and find a karate teacher who may or may not be the best. You can just go online and learn from the best, and he may be teaching one person, or he may be teaching a million people all at the exact same time. Or you can create a program that has all the knowledge that you could possibly have about that sport, about that field, about whatever, and have a private tutor sit there and teach you. And you're going to learn more because it's more personal than reading text on a screen, you know? And malls in real life are kind of dying. They're going the way of the dodo. But on virtual space, I could see malls just exploding into these huge virtual places where people go to buy and sell stuff, and it would just be this amazing, huge thing where you wouldn't get tired, because if you wanted to go somewhere, you could just zap yourself there. But it would still have that virtual reality feel of a mall when you walk inside and try things on, because there's nothing quite like picking it. Like, if you were going to pick a mouse, something basic that everybody's going to be using if they have a computer. For those of you who actually went out to a store to buy yours, you know that depending on the size of your hand and the makeup and all this other stuff, some mouses just feel more comfortable in your hand. The little tiny ones are good for some people, big ones are good for other people, there's medium-sized ones, everything in between. I've seen these new mice that look like Transformers. It's crazy looking the way these things look, and they look wicked, they look cool, they have all these lights and LEDs on them. But then when you put them in your hand, at least for me, they're actually semi-uncomfortable. It's like jagged pieces that are digging into you, kind of like the old Nintendo remote, where these like square things are digging into the palm of your hands. And there's nothing really like trying it out for yourself to make sure that it fits, especially for something like a mouse that's going to be with you, that you're going to use for hours upon hours a day. And that's why people go to the stores instead of just ordering that stuff online, you know, to try them out. But if you can do that in VR, then that's it. That's like end game for the stores. Like, nobody's going to go out to the store in person and risk being, you know, there's just always something that goes wrong in the store. You know, you get customers who are idiots, you got employees for the most part who are idiots, who are mean, rude, not doing their job, sitting there talking on their cell phones, doing whatever. But if it was all computerized, you don't have to worry about that. The computer behind the counter is a virtual reality version of a program who will help you with your questions, and those programs are getting better and better. It used to be those things were so annoying. Anybody who's gone to college lately and talked to one of those answering machines they got there that say, you know, please press 1 or say yes or no, you just want to bang your head against the wall because they are so ridiculous. They never help. They never get you where you need to go, and you just feel like throwing the phone against the wall. But I've also used some of those smartphone where you can say like Google, tell me where to go to sushi, you know, the closest sushi restaurant, and it will tell you exactly how to get there. Load up Google Maps and all this cool stuff. So they are getting better. Coming? Oh, sure isn't. There we go. But I would love to know what you guys think, whether you're looking forward to that. Have you guys tried any VR systems other than the Oculus, or even the Oculus one? What did you guys think of that one? Let me see if I can make it back. There we go. Which one are we fighting? There we go. You know, now that I think about it, I do think Enchanter's got something like a slow. It didn't slow their movement speed running away, but I think it slowed their attack during the fight, if I remember right. It's been a while, so I may be wrong about that one. There we go. If you could make a character like a Shadow Knight with a Bard speed all the time, that would just be the greatest puller in the world. Because I think the speed is pretty much one of the few limitations of a puller. You want to be able to get them and then run as fast as possible back to the group without being hit the entire time. And yet you still want... Oh, great. This one's going to come over here. So he put on his area effect damage song, which kind of gives him aggro to all the creatures around. Bottle of cocoa milk. You know, that's delicious in real life, but I would not suggest drinking too much cocoa milk. Coconut milk, I should say. So we got somebody leaving because it's too late. It's 12:20 where he's at. Run back. Got another one. Got a spawn down there as well. Now, in case you can't click on them and you don't feel like using the tab key to get through the different mobs, you can always hit the escape key, and that will de-target anything you have, and then the very first person to hit you will be your target. And so if they're hitting you, hit them back, you know, right? I mean, oh great, I'm blind. Hit the 1 key. Go ahead and keep attacking. Hopefully I'm facing the right way. Not a whole lot you can do about this. Let's see, was I attacking? I was, but I wasn't anywhere near him. Let's see, is there somebody else that's gonna join? No, he's red. I got a belt. You can see it tells you right here that I looted a crushed bone belt, so they know who's looting what. I don't know if they put in on this one a master looter. I know that was a problem back in the day when you were sitting there camping a named guy. Occasionally, not too often, because you get a really bad rep and nobody would invite you into groups ever again, but occasionally you would have somebody just loot it and run off. They've been with you for a couple hours, they wanted it that bad, and they just loot it and log, or loot it and go link dead. You know, people are like, who looted it, who did this, and now you can see exactly who did it. Of course, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Can't really, you can't petition the GMs and say, hey, he looted my item and didn't give us a chance to random on him. And it's not part of the rules about who gets what. It's pretty cutthroat as far as they were concerned. You know, whoever got it, got it. If you guys want to work out some arrangement where you guys random for it after the fact, that's on you guys. So. But it was pretty strictly enforced. If somebody did that, you spread the word, and that was pretty much the end of them. If they can't find groups, they can't level. If they can't level, except by themselves, usually they will stop the game. I mean, it's just, it'd be a nightmare for people like that. You know, their name is smeared, and when people see them, you know, people are very vindictive, and they would go at it. That's actually a pretty purple right there, a beautiful purple. They'd go out of their way to, like, train these people. We're getting buffs here. Give it a second. Sweet. Let's check this out. What do we got? Well, we're not out of the woods on our weight, but we are a lot more, you know, stronger than we used to. Run. Okay, well guys, I think we're going to go ahead and end the episode here. I had to wake up pretty early tomorrow for work, so I'm probably going to stop here in a few minutes. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like these episodes, I appreciate it if you hit the like button, subscribe, leave comments below. Your participation in these videos really makes them what they are. And again, guys, I want to thank you for watching.